Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to shift your muscle building focus. I'm going to show you how to do less of some things and more of others. Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I would love to help. All right, so I have 7 different areas. I got a little handy dandy note card here behind the camera. I'm going to show you how to shift your focus. We're going to try to do less of this, more of that. I'm not sure if you've seen videos like that before, but that's what we're going to do in this video. All right, let's dive in. Number 1 is less focus on deadlifts and RDLs and more focus on other back and hamstring and things like glute work in the same workout. Deadlifts and RDLs are great exercises, perfect exercises, wonderful choices. I'm not trying to discourage you guys from using them, but they can take more than they give. If we try to overwork them, they can take a lot of time, they can take a lot of energy, they can take a lot of resources, they can punish the lower back. We want a reasonable or moderate amount of deadlift or RDL volume. In general, I tell trainees really not to go over 25 reps per week on the deadlift. It's not a hard rule. It's not something that I'm trying to create a rule with that you should never go over 25. But I find doing a little bit less on the deadlift is sometimes a better decision than doing a little bit more. Same with RDLs. When I do RDLs, I never do more than 2 sets. A lot of my clients will start out with 3 sets as they're building strength, but I'll ask them over and over again, how are you feeling about this? How's the overall punishment? And for many of them, we do move to 2 sets. I'm not telling you guys you need to do this, but understand it's okay to move your deadlifts and your RDLs down to 2 sets so you can make room in that workout for more back work, more hamstring work, or other variations that aren't quite as taxing. All right, number 2 is less focus on high volume and more focus on reasonable volume. There's a lot of talk about volume in the lifting world, and if you go on to certain camps or certain discussions, you're going to see people really elevating the importance of volume. Like you have to really do a lot of high volume, or somehow doing a lot of high volume can replace progressive overload or chasing strength increases, etc. This is completely a waste of time. We need to be reasonable and pragmatic. We need to look at what is a reasonable volume for you. How many days a week can you train? 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. We're trying to set up a reasonable volume for you and understand with that reasonable volume, you're going to be able to build all the muscle you want because it is reasonable. We do not need to worry about high volume. We do not need to focus on how to add more volume. Instead, we need to focus on creating a reasonable volume and maximizing that. How many ever days you can work out per week, 3, 4, 5, whatever, multiply that by about 18. This will give you the number of hard sets you can do per week. And from there, you can distribute this into whatever muscle groups you feel make sense. So for example, you're going to train 4 days a week, multiply this by 18 hard sets. That's 72 hard sets a week. In the massive iron world, we use the rule of 2/3. Take 2/3 of these sets, in this case 72, take 2/3 of these, which would be 48, and put them towards the major areas of focus: chest, back, delts, and quads. Then the remaining 2/3 you put towards hamstrings, biceps, and triceps. And then you can take the rest of the work and put it towards forearms, calves, abs, whatever you want. Now, again, this is not a rule. This is just a general platform and a guideline. But from here, you can add or move around whatever you want. If you feel you need a little bit more back work, a little less chest work, etc. But we are focused here on a reasonable volume rather than arbitrarily becoming obsessed with huge amounts of volume as the driver of hypertrophy. Use a reasonable amount of volume, work it hard, you will build all the muscle. All right, the next one is a question I get a lot, and it is about rest in between sets. I want you to focus less on micromanaging rest or structuring rest or keeping tight rest periods and focus more on intuitive rest. What do I mean by this? When someone comes to me and asks me how long should I rest in between sets, what I tell them is rest until you feel mentally and physically ready to go again. I don't structure my rest periods. If you want to, that's fine, but hear me out. After a set, what is the goal of the next set? What is the goal for each set? The goal is to get as much out of that set as you can. You want to maximize that set, because if you maximize every set, you're maximizing your workout and you're maximizing the muscle building process. So if you rest until you feel mentally and physically ready to attack that next set, you put yourself in the position to maximize that next set. If you place your focus on structuring rest periods, then your focus is on structuring rest periods and not necessarily maximizing the next set. Now, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this, and I'm not trying to worry you. If you use a reasonable degree of rest, if you're structuring your rest, you're going to be fine for the next set. But what I want you to understand is that you don't have to worry about structured rest periods. You don't have to you don't have to over focus on them. They aren't important. The important thing is maximizing the next set. So rest until you feel physically and mentally ready to go. All right, number 4, I want you to have less focus on frequency training, less focus on how frequently you're training, and more focus on weekly volume. Now, I'm not a frequency guy. I'm not a body part split guy. I'm a guy that's going to tell you to use the split that makes the most sense for you. If you're enjoying your training, you're going to get the most out of it. There's no inherent value in frequency training or body part split training. The value is in what you prefer. There is such an incredible amount of focus on frequency in the muscle building world. I want you guys to relax from that and see things differently. I want you to look at your weekly volume. Earlier, we talked about figuring out how many days per week you could work out, right? 3, 4, 5, multiplying them by 18 hard sets, and you get your total weekly volume. This is what you want to focus on in the long run, determining that weekly volume, being consistent with that weekly volume, and getting the most out of every set. If you do this, frequency doesn't matter. So we're going to shift from focusing on frequency to focusing on consistent weekly volume. That is what you should be worried about. All right, number 5, we're going to focus less on the cult of barbell or barbell exercises and more on getting a sensible balance and variety. Now, I love my barbell exercises. This is a power building, muscle building channel. We love strength and muscle building, right? I'm not anti-barbell exercise, so hear me out. Don't get reactionary. Don't make a comment before you listen, right? I love my deadlifts. I love my squats. I love my overhead presses. I love my bench presses. With that said, there is a kind of cult of barbell out there where if you just do all barbell exercises, that's all you need. This is bullshit. When it comes to hypertrophy, you need your dumbbell exercises. You need your machine exercises after your barbell and dumbbell are done. You need your machines and cables. And then you need to cap it off with something a little bit more moderate, like an isolation exercise. We want less focus on the cult of barbell and more focus on reasonable programming and balance and variety. You want a little bit of variety. Every exercise will hit a muscle group or a body part differently. You can't just do barbell bench. Add a little variety in incline dumbbell bench or dips or machine chest press or plate-loaded machine press or pec deck or whatever. A little bit of variety. Everything is going to hit that muscle group differently, and that is a good thing. All right, number 6, less focus on chasing reps and more focus on chasing hard training and letting the reps come from that. We have kind of gone down a rabbit trail, like where we focus on somehow if I get to a certain strength standard, I'm going to be huge. Yes, it's good to have strength standards. It's good to be focused on progressive overload and trying to get a lot stronger than you are now. But we need to do so in the lane of hard training. I love to focus on adding plus ones, but my main focus is on training hard in the gym, and in that lane, then I want to try to add a plus one. You don't want to get sloppy or have crappy form, because that's a good way to add plus ones when maybe they're not even being beneficial. It's not beneficial or quality training. You can get sloppy on lat pull downs and curls and seated cable rows and do all kinds of crazy, ugly shenanigans and add a plus one. But at the end of the day, is that plus one truly beneficial for muscle building? Or is there quality focus on a seated cable row or a lat pull down or a curl? Quality focus where you're adding a plus one in that lane. So focus less on chasing reps. Focus more on hard training and letting hard training produce that progressive overload or the extra reps. All right, number 5, this is where a lot of lifters fall off the wagon. They fall out of the car and just tumble to their doom. It is one way they focus on healthy eating instead of a purposeful bulk. Healthy eating is a great thing. We all want to take care of our body. We all want to eat good. We all want longevity, to live as long as we can. But that's not good enough for muscle building. Muscle building, you need a purposeful bulk. You need a bulking plan. You need a slight calorie surplus. We don't do fat bulks in the massive iron world. Search this channel from the main page for massive bulking, or go over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, and search bulking. You will see the massive iron bulking protocol. A good place to start is a focus on a 10-pound bulk over about a 4 to 5 month period of time. 10 pounds isn't that much. And if you get 10 pounds away from home base, it's really easy to cut back. So this is a good starting point for a first-time bulker. We're going to learn how to be consistent with nutrition. We're going to learn how to just slowly creep up over time without getting fat. This requires a lot of discipline. This requires a lot of focus. But if you shift your focus from just eating healthy to a purposeful bulk, this can unlock the next level. This can be a complete game changer. All right, guys, let me know which one of these connected with you. Which one of these are you going to go out there today, this week, and make a change? Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.